stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Let rain fall, let rain
Well, nothing like to get you hyped than that great Laurel Park Open. Welcome to Laurel Park for the start of another great racing week here. I'm Acacia Courtney, filling in for Stan Salter this weekend. Thrilled to be back at my home away from home, and also thrilled to be joined alongside with our morning line odds maker, Keith Fustel, who does a little bit of everything. But hey, Keith, we've got a great weekend lined up for you.
Jack of all trades, master of none, I guess is what you would call me. A great weekend. They call it the Fall Festival. It's like the Fall Bonanza, you name it, the Fall Feast of Racing. So much in store starting today. You know, call it the appetizer, your 10 race card, and then 13 and 12 followed up for you on Sunday. So we've got a slew of good opportunities ahead. We were talking before the show. I mean, how tough some of these races were, over the weekend. I think it's going to be a betting bonanza for everybody.
It really is. Some great value opportunities, and there you see it tomorrow, Saturday, September 22nd. Special 12:30 post, so don't be late. We have the rescheduled Grade 3 Express Bet Frank J. at DeFrancis Memorial Dash. Bit of a mouthful, but it should be a quick race and definitely a wide open race at that. And as Keith said, all of the stakes, 7 in total, very competitive. Hats off to the racing office for doing such a great job putting those together. Really looking forward to tomorrow's card. We have 10 races today, 13 races tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw our racing secretary strolling in. I said, man, I used to like the guys in the racing office. Not anymore for what you did to me the past couple of days. I had to call in all the help. My man Vinny Perrone was like, Vinny, take a look at this race. Are we seeing it the right way? So great job by them. Everybody in there was a team effort, and they did a wonderful job for this weekend's cards.
Absolutely. So we'll dive right into what we have for you today. As I said, 10 races on tap today. Our first post will go as 1:10 p.m. We're starting with a bit of a fresh slate. We don't have any carryovers to report, but we do have plenty of options. Any race with 7 or more betting interest will offer that $1 rolling super high five. It does start in race number 1 today, as there is just one scratch. We will also have plenty of other betting opportunities for you, including the popular 20-cent Rainbow Six. That does start a little bit later on today in race number 5. 6 races, of course, the last 6 races on the card. Again, no carryover, so we'll see if we can build it up for tomorrow's card. And, of course, pick 4s, pick 5s, pretty much anything you could possibly want. No rain right now. We did have some rain a little bit earlier, a little bit muggy today, which has made it a little bit hard for the turf to be drying out, as we are going to be off turf today.
Yeah, green as can be, as you can see. Great picture right there. We're on a fast main track. Get on this turf course tomorrow. The area is just been deluged with rain, but I know the guys here, they've been doing a laborious job just trying to stay on top of things. Hopefully good. It's very lush, very green.
It is.
Don't know exactly, looking at tomorrow, maybe start out at good. I don't know if it's going to be firm. I mean, we just had so much moisture in this air, but let's get it through. Let's get to tomorrow and get on that turf course. But off the turf today, only two races that were scheduled.
Right, only 2 scheduled turf races. That'll be just races 1 and 3, so going to be off the turf. And all in all, not too many scratches to deal with today either. Of course, our track announcer, Dave Rodman, will update you on those scratches and changes right after Keith and I are done. But let's dive right in. We'll start with race number 1. That was a race originally scheduled for the turf. It's going to be where the early pick 5 does start. Industry low, 12% takeout. Carryover possible on the late pick 5. Early pick 5 is mandatory payout. As we said, originally scheduled for the turf, it's now going to be off. So do note it does change to 1 mile on the main track. Just one scratch in the opener of the 4 Smart Romance. So we do have that $1 rolling super high five as well. Coming off of the turf, Keith, you're left with your current favorite, Miss Asia Brown, I should say. She's a bit of a question mark because her dirt races have not been that good.
No, they're not great, and she's got some speed. I don't know if she's got the speed of Emelina. Emelina's pretty quick, a vet we've seen around her a long, long time. 8-year-old mare for Thomas McMahon. A little bit of a drop-in class. I think Emelina is going to be the one to catch. I think she's quick enough to clear. I think Miss Asia Brown is going to get caught up chasing and fading. I'm not, no way, shape, or form am I going to touch her at 6-5. I go to the 6, as do you, with I Dream of Lois. Kieran has got this filly kind of this mare to improve. The dirt numbers have gone steadily upward. Going back to that race at Delaware, Emma's Diamond Diva, who she beat, came back to run a respectable 66 by her for a little bit better number for 25, beating 3 in life here the other day. So I think I Dream of Lois will go ahead and track the speed. She'll grind them down through the stretch.
She should sit a perfect trip in here. You mentioned Emelina, who's the number 7. She does seem to be the speed of the speed. Miss Asia Brown will probably kind of run and gun. That's what she did last time out at Saratoga. In fact, she was actually acting up in the gate last time at Saratoga and just expended so much energy early on. So she's got to be able to settle a bit more, I think, to be successful. I just can't see that happening. Emelina's a cool horse, though. She's been successful on both surfaces.
Yeah, and she gets brave sometimes. You know, it's hit or miss of late as the years have kind of, she got a little bit longer in the tooth. But Emelina, sometimes she gets out there and she hits the top of the stretch. Well, I'll find another gear and just keeps on going. So don't leave her out of your tickets. I also use Floating By. I'll chalk that race up to just Parks, the horse not liking Parks. Delaware Parks, sometimes we get the horses ship up from Laurel. They don't run a step. Obviously, she loved Delaware. Made a strong move into a slower pace to go away, winning clear. Failed as the favorite, comes back. This claim has been okay for Dale. She's another one. She's got stamina. She'll make a run into him as well. Boomerang Miss, she fits. A little drop. She hasn't quite been what she was, but this will help her out with this company.
You know, I really liked Boomerang Miss on the turf. On the dirt, she's going to be a big question in here. But, I mean, last time out, the jockey was really asking her, but she did have some momentum late, so we'll see what we get from her with the surface switch in here. But both Keith and I on a horse that's currently 8-1, I Dream of Lois. We'll see if she drifts down a little bit, which I assume she
She'll
will
make her way down
as we get closer to post time. But moving on to race number 2, this one originally scheduled for the dirt anyway. 5.5 furlongs on the main track. It's a 5,000 non-winners of 3 lifetime, and this is where we do start our early pick 4. And Keith is going to help us out with the ticket.
Yeah, a little bit of an easy ticket, and not too expensive for you. We got to get this single home in race 4, but to get you started, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to go against the favorite, the one choice prospect, to get you started in this early pick 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. Nayretta's a little bit of a price. I think the speed comes back here in the third race. The 2 and the 10. Queen of Smooth's little habit of mind. They look like the controlling speeds in this race. Fergie's Lady, an overland trip to say the least at Timonium. Drops in class, the jam job to get it done here for Claudio and Carlos Carrasco. And in the 5th, another spread, I believe. I don't think Sister Patricia is any kind of slam dunk at 8-5. There's going to be plenty of money coming in for the 4. Baccarat Fashion is awfully quick. She might be able to steal away. 1, 3, 6, 7 in the 5th race for a $16 ticket.
All right, spreading in the bookends for a nice and affordable ticket. We'll see if we can get that single home a little bit later on. But using some coverage here in the first leg of the early pick 4 in race number 2. And as I was joking as I saw Keith's pick 4, we really did see these races kind of differently. I did go to the inside with the number 1 choice prospect.
Okay.
I know that this is a horse that's been a little bit of a question, and I know that her last couple of races at Timonium, I thought they were good races. She's 0 for 9 on the turf. I don't think she's a turf horse. I like that they're keeping her on the dirt now. She's got some speed, but I don't necessarily think she's a need the lead type. What she'll do from that inside post will be the question. We'll see if she can work out a trip.
I just think the extra 3/16 of a mile is a little bit tricky for her. She got away with murder 2 races back at Timonium. Very soft opening quarter, then spurted away from the boys, and then she ran a respectable try September 2nd, chasing a little quicker pace, a little bit willing to the wire, but that's a half mile. You know, that wire comes up soon in this stretch. She's got a little bit longer to go here when she turns for home at Laurel Park. She'll be part of the pace flow. I think you're going to see some more speed from Tack Up, more than what she showed in her last at Timonium. Her Cat Will Fool You. Also in line with the speed, along with the 3. Score Early and Often. I do think Score Early and Often, reunited with Forest Boys, she has speed. I think she might be able to rate just off of this particular group. Negative, though, she was dropped in half right off the claim for her new connections for John Carlisle and Super C. That leaves me with the 4 and notable game in the 5, Majestic Pick. Majestic Pick a little bit better here for me, riding the hot rider here, Katie Davis, on a roll since coming back to the races. Majestic Pick has enough. Just a grinding run at Delaware. The speed, I think, will come back a little bit better today to her. 5 or 4. They're going to sit similar trips, chasing they're going to be used chasing, but I think they can just kind of stay around and go by late.
Both of these horses were a little bit of head scratchers for me. My biggest knock against Majestic Pick, and you bring up a great point with Katie Davis, who's been riding really, really well since coming back. This mare, her last several races, I mean, you look all the way back to May, they've been very good. She really hasn't run a bad race, with the exception of 2 starts back when she broke slowly. She's always been right there. She just hasn't been able to get the job done. So maybe today's the day. Maybe she just meets the right bunch. But I used her in second really just because of that. The 4 notable game I respect. Going to have to carry some more weight today, going from 116 to 124. So that'll be a big question for this 4-year-old filly. Let's see if she can handle some horses that are maybe a little bit more tested and tried and true in here.
It's like nobody has a legitimate finish. Nobody has legitimate stamina. So they're all going to meet in the middle. They all might converge. This may be like a 6 or 7 way photo. When we get to
we'll
the
see.
wire.
We'll see what Dave Rodman does with that.
Yes.
And that is why Keith ended up using some coverage with 4 horses in the first leg of that pick 4. We'll move on to race number 3. This was another originally carded turf race, the only other originally scheduled turf race on the day. It will be moved to the main track. This is a $16,000 claiming race for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. And we are in agreement here. Queen of Schmooze, I thought that this horse, even trying the turf, she's just been in such good form and been so consistent, getting a drop in class. Really like her. And my question with this race, Keith, where's the speed coming from?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little habit of mine. She's shown it in the past. She'd go 2 back at Laurel, internals of 22 and 1, 45 and 3, battling and able to shake clear. I think she is the speed of the speed. But Queen of Schmooze, awfully good last time. It was caught wide, shifted out, kept on coming behind polarization, kind of got away with it around the turn. Queen of Schmooze holding form, drops a little bit. This is going to be enough. She's not real big. She's not super fast, but boy, she's got a lot of heart. This little 3-year-old filly by Done Talking.
And this was the race that was probably the most affected with scratches, but I do still think that you're left with a pretty solid group in here. You mentioned the number 10, Little Habit of Mine, who does come in off the main track only list. A horse that's been in solid form for Lacey Gaudette, has that speed, as you mentioned, that she showed at Laurel 2 starts back. Coming from the outside, though, I still do prefer the consistency, I think, of Queen of Schmooze. You mentioned her trip last time. You also have an entry in here in Mayflowers and Stellar Trick, both of us using these 2 Presque Isle downshippers.
Yeah, the barn, Jerry Brooks had a real good meet at Timonium, and he's pretty steady for wherever he goes. But dirt form, I mean, where is it? Mayflowers, okay. Stellar Trick has never been on it. And look, there was only one other sibling, I believe, and didn't run fast at all on the dirt. But I respect the barn. I think they'll make a run into it. But I think this race is the 2 or the 10.
I think so, too. It looks like it goes between one of those 2. So we'll see if it's a pretty cut and dry race number 3 as we move on to the 4th race. This is 1 mile on the main track, a $5,000 claiming event for 3-year-old fillies and mares, or for fillies and mares at 3-year-olds and upward, which never won 3. So a bit of an interesting condition in here. Couple of different ways to go. Another race that we saw a little bit differently. But let's start with the number 3, Nancy R, as I know that you had a replay you wanted to show on this horse from Timonium.
Yeah, if anybody's kind of maybe moving in the right direction form-wise, I guess it's Nancy R. Look at this move. Bold move by the rider at Timonium, moving up past the 3/8 ball, going by about 3 or 4 horses. Gutsy rail run up the challenge, value added, and got away with a little bit of softer internals when you broke it down. The speed was awfully good this particular day at Timonium. Vide inside, just a little bit of a fade late. Nancy R is moving in the right direction. Almost got a short lead past the 3/16 at Timonium. That's good enough, guys. I think she's going to settle. She has some targets here today with Dance Queen, Binary Bourbon as the speeds. I don't know if she's got quite the finish of a dropping Fergie's Later. He's coming down from 10 and was caught wide against quicker and better fractions at Timonium against a better group. Fergie's Later, this jam job with Claudia, what is he? 6 for 19 dirt routes with a 50% drop in class.
And it looks like the drop is kind of just what's needed for Fergie's Lady, because she's another one that's just been knocking on the door in all of these recent starts. And then he just says, okay, well, it looks like what we've got to do is drop her in class. And sometimes that's just all that she needs. So maybe that's all it'll take to wake her up. She stretched out in distance at Timonium last time out, going the mile. She does actually have a good record at this distance. 6 starts, 2 wins, and 4 thirds.
No, she's good. And I think she's going to be used a little bit. I don't think she's going to come from far back. But if she keeps the other speeds within a couple lengths around the turn, I think she'll be able to do that within herself and go ahead and move past and go clear. Like I said, the improving part, Nancy, are you like You like the 5, Binary
do.
Bourbon. I didn't know where that race came from Penn in the Mud. Other than that, she's going to have to improve for me, improve to kind of get over the top against this group.
Well, she is. I think that she's an interesting one. I mean, you look back at that race at Penn in the Mud. She got a 63 buyer speed figure. I don't think that that's indicative of what she really can run.
Okay.
The race on the fast track before that, going a mile, I thought was very, very good. She has some good races on the go back, even at the end of the Pimlico meet, going a mile and the 16th on the main track. I thought that she could potentially be tactical, and that she's very good when she's spotted at the right level. So I like her staying at this level.
Okay.
She can show pace, or she can just kind of run to her competition, whatever it is that she needs to be used for.
Yeah, it's interesting. What will Dance Queen do? She opens up by 8 on the grass, and then she's coming from off the pace on the dirt. She has speed on the go back and some sprints, so I think Binary Bourbon Dance Queen will kind of hook up around the turn at some point. But that's a good point. She ran that big race on the dirt prior to the 50. That might be good enough to win this.
It might be good enough. I mean, the more we talk about it, the more confused I kind of am about this race, actually. And you know, it's an interesting race for sure. That maybe you do want to use a little bit of coverage. And was this your single?
That was my single.
This was your
so
single.
I'm
All
gonna
right,
need
so
her.
maybe
Yeah.
the drop in class is all Fergie's lady needs. We'll see if she can get the job done for Keith's pick 4. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about today's 20-cent Rainbow 6.
Hey everybody, super excited to tell you about a brand new national Pick 5 wager that kicks off on Friday, September 28th. It's the Stronach 5, and it features an industry low takeout of 12%. You want action? The Stronach 5 is all about action. We're talking 5 races in less than an hour: Laurel, Golden Gate Fields, Gulfstream Park, and Santa Anita. That's the Stronach 5, a 12% takeout, $1 minimum, and it sets sail Friday, September 28th.
All right, well, definitely getting excited about that Stronach 5 wager, getting a nice little glimpse of Laurel Park at Maryland Million Day at the end of that commercial. Of course, Maryland Million coming up right here at Laurel on October 20th. But next week we will start the Stronach 5. But of immediate interest in here, Keith, is the Rainbow 6. So we do have no carryover. They hit it, I believe, for the full jackpot last week. So no carryover starting here on Friday, but it does begin here in race number 5. I have a ticket to show you. I'm gonna try and make my way through this sequence here. No singles for me on this afternoon for my Rainbow 6 ticket. I am going to start using 3 horses. You mentioned Baccarat Faction. This is the horse that I'm really nervous about on the drop and having that speed. I'm very intrigued by Astonishing Ariana, second time out for Kieran McGee. So using 3 in there. Going to go 2 deep in race number 6. 3 deep in the 7th race. That's when I ended up using a little bit of coverage with a couple of the mid-pack horses that I think have just been in solid form. In the 8th race, Rug Me Man, probably going to be a very, very short price coming out of Graded Stakes Company for Grand Motion. I'm going to back myself up just because my ticket was a little bit more on the affordable side with the number 5, Falling in Love Again. We'll see if the ultimate equipment change now a gelding for Michelle Nevin can help this one and maybe get a little bit of a price in this sequence here. In race 9, I'm going to go 2 deep as well using the outside runners. Ballard High could potentially be another single and another short price who's just been in very respectable, solid form with a little bit of trouble recently for Linda Rice. And then as we wrap things up using the 5, Gimme Kimmy, and the 6, Chobe Girl. I thought the logical ones in the nightcap. $28.80 for me.
I like your price users there.
Yeah.
And the last, that was a tough race to line because Star 80 has been entered and scratched so many times. She's got the back class. I do think the money will come in on her, but maybe Gimme Kimmy Chobe Girl will come down a little bit in price there. And I agree with you to get us started. I like the 1, 4, 6 in the 7, this shorter 5th race, but it's Sister Patricia at 8 to 5, now going to be a little bit lower, as will Astonishing Ariana. Sister Patricia had a lot of tries, and she has sometimes she has trouble getting out of the gate, which is their detriment. She needs the right kind of flow.
She does, and maybe the drop in class will just be all that it takes for her. If she is any sort of price, though, a horse that's 0 for 11 and has 4 seconds and 6 thirds, that's just going to be a tough take for me. You bring up a great point. I mean, even just looking at the short comments, slow start, hesitated start, 7 wide. I mean, she's definitely had a bit of a tough go of it. The one Baccarat Fashion, dropping in for the class, for the tag for the first time. She ran very well in special weight company here at Laurel 2 starts back.
Oh, baccarat fashion. That it was hooked and didn't give up. That was the thing. You're looking, especially when you're looking around. Oh, it's going to get collared after opening up 5. The horse is just going to spit the bit. No, Duggan Gamely, Reality Queen, the winner of that race, has come back. Ran so on the turf, but after that followed up with a big win in an A other than at Penn. So Reality Queen. I mean, I said Reality Queen is being the key horse. Baccarat fashion being, I think, is the speed of the speed, because Astonishing Era really showed good speed, got over from the 12 hole in that debut run, but it was was battling with a 35-1 shot.
Right.
How good was the horse she got by? Baccarat fashion, Bruno Tessori, kind of a sneaky trainer. This horse, I think, is going to be good coming back from Saratoga to Laurel.
I totally agree with you there. I think that she's definitely a must-use. I took a stab at the 4, Astonishing Ariana, and you bring up a great point. I watched that race back a couple of times. I think her hand was forced having to use that speed from that far outside post to get over, dueling with the 35-1 shot. The winner, Bridgewater, really had an ideal trip there, but I thought all in all, Astonishing Ariana held very well. And here's a stat on trainer Kieran McGee. With horses in the money last time out in the maiden claiming ranks over the past 5 years, he wins at 35% and 65% of the time in the money. A good sample size as well of 69 horses, just shy of a $2 ROI. But the percentages I thought were very strong. So taking a stab a little bit, a lot more towards the inside now than the post that she had last time. We'll see how she rates this time, and if maybe she sits just off the flank of Baccarat fashion.
Yeah, and Bridgewater did come back to run well. Then they stretched her out. She didn't run so well. So that's a key horse there in Astonishing Area. Sister Patricia, I watched the last race. Yes, she made a valiant run, switched to her correct lead. The final eighth of a mile, the horses behind her have come back and just really haven't done a whole lot. Does it fall right into her lap? It may. I don't want to get beat by her. I'm gonna use her in there protectively, but I'm gonna be awfully short.
Yep, and so we'll see if maybe start number 12 will be the lucky one for Sister Patricia as we move on to race number 6, 5.5 furlongs on the main track. Fillies and Mares 3-year-old and upward, which have never won 3 races. This is where our late pick 5 does start. A couple of different ways to go in here. You landing on the number 2, Marie from Paris.
Yeah, Marie from Paris. I liked the time that Mary gave this horse. I didn't know if it was injured or what, but a nice little regrouping from January to July after this filly. Kind of ran into a horse in the stretch. We lost the jock, got the horse's bearings back, dropped a little bit in class off the freshening. Turf to dirt, though. Good angle,
really good angle.
for Mary Epler. I think this horse is going to be able to rate and make a move into it.
And just to back that up, here is a stat on trainer Mary Epler over the past 5 years, going from turf to dirt with horses that won last time out. Not a huge sample size, but 4 for 12 and 67% of the time in the money with a really good ROI. Now, even with all that, she wasn't my top pick. I really respect her. I think that she's probably on paper the horse to beat, but I was trying to get a little bit of a price in here. Just as we kind of go through, you do see some horses that maybe a little bit of shorter prices. I thought that the 6 Ginger-esque might be a little bit of a sneaky, dropping back down to the 16. Really went very quickly through her conditions. She broke her maiden and then notched the non-winners of 2 right away, all with Mario Pino. They stepped her back up. She had a trouble trip last time. She got out of the gate slow. She didn't really get the cleanest. I like also the slight turn back to keeping at the 5.5 furlongs, but more than anything, I like the drop.
Yeah, and she wants a target. She's going to get it. A lot of grit running down Holiday Magician 2 races back. I thought Holiday Magician was going to go ahead and run away from high from the field at the 8th pole. Came back a little bit. Ginger-esque as a user. Definite trouble last time out. The 5 missed Jack for Claudio. It probably got her lined a little too high at 10. Went back and looked at this race a little deeper. And, off of this kind of layoff, he strikes at 30%. When doesn't he strike at 30%? This Claudio Gonzalez. So, and she'll sit just off the speed. Cress is dialing. I believe it's going to be the favorite made early. We're 5-2, but the drop off of a win. She's never run super fast. None of these really have, but a barn that doesn't run a lot of horses, it always scares me when they go ahead and lower a horse in class like this off of a good race. That's scary to me. So I go 2, 7, 5, 6. The other day we had a Frock exact, that maybe we'll get a Mary Epler exact. Holiday Magician holding form. She gets horses to roll through conditions nicely. Does Mary Epler? One of these 2 in the 6th.
Absolutely. Maybe the light bulb clicked last time out for Holiday Magician. Moving on to race number 7. 5.5 furlongs on the main track for 3-year-olds and upward. This does start our late pick 4. We'll take a stab at this sequence as well. Another nice and affordable ticket to show you in here. I believe it's $18 for me. I'm going to use a little bit more coverage than I did in the Rainbow Six. I didn't try to get a single home today, using pretty much the same horses that I did in that Rainbow Six, using the outside horses here, 4, 6, 7, going 1, 2, and even including the number 2 Spitesford as I go on to race number 8, even though I do think, again, Rugby Man will be a very clear favorite. Same 2 horses in race number 9 with Ballard High and Regal Quality. And I'm standing alone with the same 2 horses in the 10th. Hopefully we make it there, and that will definitely be the race where I'm holding my breath. But this 7th race, as we said, on the main track, a couple of different ways to go here. I thought that this was a pretty competitive field.
Yeah, looking at that pick 4, I think races 8 and 10, they hold the key to
Yes.
your value in the pick 4. Can we go ahead and beat Rugby Man, who could be 4 to 5 now with the scratch, maybe even a little bit lower in that 10th race with a suspect fave in Star 80? I like your price shots in there. So yeah, let's look at race 7.
All right, we'll look
All
at
right.
race 7. Well, I went to the number 6 in here, Patchy Cruz, who's just, I mean, honestly, Keith, I kept looking back, trying to beat
Trying
this
to beat
horse.
it, yeah.
Is he vulnerable? It really very well could be vulnerable. But like you said, it's Claudio Gonzalez. When doesn't he bat at a good price? He was this horse was taken down via DQ last time out at Penn. Ultra consistent. My fear is if he doesn't get the lead.
Yeah, Sing Praises is awfully quick. I think with a straight up good start for both of them, Sing Praises is going to clear Pachi Cruz. But the problem is Sing Praises the last couple times has had trouble getting out of the gate. Spotty record. One race in February, then in July, now another little layoff. So I don't know what to take. I think Sing Praises goes ahead, even with a bad break, sprints away. Pachi Cruz will take the measure of that one, and I think is going to hedge on by. He hasn't paired up Pachi Cruz to 6. Those numbers, he runs like a gaudy number, then he runs an okay number, then he runs a big number, then he runs an okay number. He's kind of on that form to just tail off a little bit. It still might be good enough against this field to go ahead and because of the 4. So the 4, I think, is going to go out, set the pace. Pachi Cruz goes by. The interesting horse, though, for me is the 1, Professor Zoom, for Damon, a horse that was claimed from. They somehow get the horse back, laid off a lot of time, but has shown on the paper, has won off of a 9-month layoff, a little more than a 9-month layoff. Why not in here? This horse can make a run. They like this horse for a reason to go ahead and get it back. He's been training, a little bit of an erratic training schedule, but I think he's my little sneaky long shot to use in the exactas.
He's going to be
maybe
running.
split the speeds.
Yeah, he's going to be running late for sure. Maybe split the speeds. As you said, I took the kind of similar tactic with the 7 Demon Buster, who has a pretty fun name, being by Ghost Sapper as well. So we'll see what happens with Pachi Cruz in race number 7 as we go on to race number 8. Here's that very short price favorite, Rugby Man for Grand Motion, that we've been talking about. A nice allowance here. Rugby Man coming out of multiple graded stakes in his last couple of starts, facing the likes of Mr. Freeze, Forense Fire, just the class that he's faced. He's going to be the horse to beat.
Yeah, we saw a horse a week or 2 ago on the turf, similar kind of deal. It just tremendous form. Now, didn't have that bad of a race leading into this race today like this horse is, but failed at a very short price. Was I think 1 to 2 if I'm not mistaken. So Motion has done this before though. He gets these horses in great form. They maybe just reach a little bit too much. Caught a track maybe he didn't like in Mountaineer. We've seen that time and time again, and tries to get the confidence back. If he's right, he wins. He wins clear against this group. So. I'm not completely sold. I'm going to use him, but I think the 2 Spites were stretching out for Perkins and DeCarlo. This horse intrigues me. I think he might be able to control it. Looking at the breeding out of a mare that was a multiple graded stakes winner going long, Perkins is about 21% first routes with an ROI of over $3. Some positives here for Spites. You're going to need a clean break. That last internal fraction up at Monmouth against 1 Dozen Banks was a second time Navarro runner who ran off the screen. 22:44 comparatively to the other races on that card. That was wicked fast. I know Monmouth's quick. This was really fast. This horse is going to be able to relax a little bit this afternoon.
I really like him stretching out and showing that pick 4. I ended up using him too because the more I looked at him, the more intrigued I was by him. He's after a horse that was stakes place named Boca Scuttlebutt, who you saw quite a bit down in Florida, running in the Claiming Crown. Better as he went longer too for Aubrey Mirage. So I do think breeding shows that this horse on the bottom side at least certainly can stretch out. I did think, again, Rugby Man probably the one to beat.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mentioned the 5 falling in love again. I think you just have to totally cross out that last race, was compromised at the start, far back early, just never got involved after that. Looking back, the stumble was not as bad as sometimes you might see, but it was bad enough to really take him out of the race. And remember being at Pimlico around Preakness time when he did win first time out for Michelle Nevin, and even getting out of the gate a little bit slowly. So they've certainly been patient with him. He's now a gelding. Maybe that's going to help him move forward.
Yeah, the debut, and you don't see horses do that too often.
Yeah.
Win 2 turns, first time out, was against a slower pace, was wide every step of the way, and kept on going and won clear after a slow start. This horse, interesting enough, took decent play into a decent sized field at Belmont in that A. Other than now reported first time gelding. Sure, I can see a major improvement for the 5 falling in love again.
All right, nice little race there in race number 8 as we continue on to race number 9. 1 mile on the main track, another good allowance field in here. Pretty wide open. We have our exacta flip-flopped. The 7 Ballard High, I think very well could be a single for many people. We'll see what we get from him. I know you had a replay to show.
Yeah, we're going to show, I believe, his last race, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this kind of the downfall of him was this break. A little bit of a bobble inward, a little contact with the horse to the inside, and then a rush up. This is tough to do at this mile distance. We talk about it time and time again, the way that gate's positioned. Horses from the rail, it seems like when I'm always calling the chart, they're towards the back, and they have to exert a little bit more energy to go ahead and get position. Went ahead, set quick fractions, was hounded, though, by a horse, Carteret, who just ran off the screen at 30-1. That was a Stan Salter play of the day, so you got to love that. Fans were sending Stan tons of money through the mail to him. But no, Ballard High is a horse that can sit off of it, as evidence a couple races back, was 8 lengths out of it after an opening quarter into a quick pace and sustain. Yeah, he's strong all the way around the racetrack. Regal Quality, though, is going to be my top selection. For Pletcher, I think he's going to bounce back. I like the 2-turn tries for him down in Florida.
2 turns very well could be the key for Regal Quality. We'll see if he can get back into good form. Not to belabor the point with a horse that's going to be a short price, but I did find a stat on Ballard High on trainer Linda Rice in the past 5 years that I thought was impressive. In an allowance race, going a distance of ground on the dirt after this kind of freshening, 31 to 60 days, as his last race was back at the end of July. She wins at a 26% clip, 62% of the time in the money, and a positive ROI. So again, these 2 horses, I'm sure, will take the brunt of the money on the outside, but just a nice stat, just some food for thought. Hopefully this horse, maybe with an outside post now, can get out of the gate a little bit cleaner.
I looked at that stat. You sent some good stats in. I broke it down even a little further and just made it for Laurel Park. She's 4 for 10 and 6 for 10. So yeah, 40% clip here with that same stat if you just punch in Laurel Park. So that's strong.
All right.
Good stuff.
Linda Rice at Laurel Park. Surprise, surprise,
Yeah.
right? Well,
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? We wrap things up here in race number 10 at 5.5 furlongs on the main track. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. $5,000 claiming event. We'll start with the number 5, Gimme Kimmy, as I know Keith wants to show her most recent race.
Yeah, we got a race there, August the
Or 2 starts
19th at Laurel. Yeah, 2 starts back. We're going to pick her up in the back of the pack, number 4 that day. Didn't come away from the gate too clean. She never shows a ton of speed, but is keen to go behind horses past the half-mile pole, and a little bit of a steady there for Pino, and going to steady again as the speed of Southern Peach. Southern Peach was able to go ahead and control this race and hang on late. Here we go, just a little bit of a tap of the brakes from the 5/16 to the quarter pole. And these lower level horses, it's tough. You get in trouble once, you might be able to overcome it. You get in trouble twice, it's not going to happen. Look, she's giving up. She's already 10 out of it there at the quarter pole. That's not going to happen. She's not going to make up the ground. Went up to Charlestown, 7 furlongs. I don't think that's her cake. She needs a little bit brisker pace to make that one sharp run. She's going to get that today, and she's going to get a price too. We're going to get a good price, maybe in that 6-8 to 1 range for Jerry Robb.
I like her a lot. I certainly respect that. As you said, with a 3 to 5 shot wiring the field, 2 starts back, she was really just kind of up against it from the start. I did take the 6 Choby Girl right next door, back on the dirt, getting a drop in class. I don't love that she switches surfaces and she ran against double the price tag, 2 starts back and 1. They tried her in the turf last time. It was just put a line through that. She didn't run a step. So she goes back to her preferred surface. Again, don't love the extra drop in here, but I do think that she's back in a spot where she can potentially get back to the winner's
Don't
circle.
know why they put her on the turf, because her turf numbers aren't great, but the last time she was turf to dirt, she did win.
Right.
So maybe the lightning will strike twice for Choby Girl.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can get the light bulb back on for Choby Girl. Well, that wraps up today's Today at the Races. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget our first post time is in just a little bit over 30 minutes at 1:10 p.m. You can join me, Tim Tulloch, and Richard Magliori throughout the afternoon. Keith, always fun working with
A
you.
lot of fun. Good seeing you
Absolutely.
here. And Stan, if you're watching, get well soon. I know,
Absolutely.
yeah, so, yeah.
We'll be missing Stan Salter this weekend, but of course, sending him all the good wishes. And thanks for joining us once again, and good luck this weekend here at
Good.
Laurel.